What's up, guys? I'm here to bring you my Oscar predictions for October. A lot has happened. That's why it's sort of the end of the month that I'm doing this. I wanted to do it earlier, but some things kept happening and I kept having to change the list. Here we are. Let's get into it. So for Best Picture, I have Anora, The Brutalist, Amelia Perez, Conclave, Doom Part 2, Nickel Boys, Sing Sing, Blitz, A Real Pain, and The Substance. So since last month, I had Demi. I actually officially put Demi Moore in. And I was like, oh, okay, like I'm going to go ahead of the curve and be like, I think she's getting in. I think this movie, something is happening with The Substance where I feel like it has the perfect traction to get a lot of nominations. At least one, at least a few. And I think it's actually getting more and more traction where I'm like, this actually could get like Best Picture and stuff like that. It has this like perfect storm of events lining up to lead it right to the end to Best Picture nomination. So I put Demi Moore in, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, like I'm ahead of the curve. Then I started looking around and reading some stuff, and a lot of people are putting them in for other stuff. So I'm like, let's go. Let's put it in for a lot more things that I think it should be, but I was too scared to put it in yet. But now that other people are, I feel more confident that it can get in for it has the potential for a lot more awards. I think the Substance number 10. I did get rid of SNL. That dropped down significantly. I feel like the buzz kind of died down. I saw the movie. It was good, but I don't know if it was Best Picture worthy. Definitely some other contenders where I can see it getting in. I brought up A Real Pain. That I feel like it lost traction, but now that the festivals are happening, I feel like it's getting right back to where it started earlier in the year, and I think it can finish out with a Best Picture nomination. Now that A Real Pain, though, is like kind of like I think Searchlight's main thing again, main focus. I did push out A Complete Unknown. It's not premiering anywhere until it actually premieres in theaters. It looks like it has the potential. It's a very Oscar-y type movie, but I'm not sure where it's going to be come when the awards start going. I pushed Wicked up. I don't even think I had Wicked up last month. I put it at number 12. The talk about Wicked has really changed. It went from we don't really know what this movie's going to be to it probably might just be a good box office movie to where people are now seeing it and they're saying it's an awards contender. And depending on how much the Oscars are going to love Wicked, I kind of have it in all the categories or a lot of them. I just don't know where it's going to fall. But if they go all in on Wicked, I can easily see it getting Best Picture nomination. So from last month, Joker Folio Due also premiered. I took it out completely. I actually finally saw it. It wasn't good. And I pretty much took it out of all contention except for like one or two awards, and we'll get into that. I think this movie fell off a cliff, and we're not really going to see Joker 2 possibly at all. There's a chance we don't see it at all at the Academy Awards. A lot happened with the movie Jury number 2. A trailer came out since last month. I put it in because it looked really strong. It was going to premiere at AFI Fest, before, like right after I did the September video. And I was like, oh, like they're kind of hyping it up as Clint Eastwood's last movie. I'm like, oh, it has a very Oscar-y type movie. I'm like, oh, this could be something. So I put it in, but then they came out saying it's only going to be in 50 theaters, limited release, not going wide, and probably going to Max. And I'm like, why are they burying this movie? So then I kind of took it out a lot. I kind of left it in because, some limited movies do well at the Oscars. But I kind of was hesitant. I'm like, why is Warner Brothers is a crazy company. They shelved a lot of movies already. So it's not like a crazy decision on their part. They've done crazier. But like, why? That's the main question. So like, I couldn't have it in the top 10. So like 11 through 20. Like I said, Complete Unknown, Wicked, Gladiator 2, September 5th. This movie I feel like came out of nowhere. Like there's big like outlets that are like predicting to be like in Best Picture, and I'm like, I don't even know what this movie is, and like it kind of came out of nowhere. So I have it on my radar, but until I know more about it or see it getting some nominations or seeing it myself, I just can't put it higher than like. I can't put it in the tops. I can't put it in like the top 10 for Best Picture or the top 5 for everything else. I just don't know enough about it. It kind of just literally, I heard like rumblings of it, and all some people were putting it in their tops. I'm like, what is happening? What is this movie? I don't know what to make of it. So I'm kind of keeping it on my radar, but we'll see what happens to it as the months go on, because obviously from September to October, a lot's happened. So October to November, a lot can happen. I have The Sea of the Sacred Fig. I have Challengers. Like I said, Saturday Night dropped down, Jury number 2. The Room Next Door kind of I feel like is falling out. I'm having it in there just because his movies kind of have surprises in them, like to get a surprise nomination. So I just have it in there just in case. And The Wild Robot I have as a possibility because they're not just saying it's the best movie, the best anime movie of the year. They're saying it's like one of the best in a while. So I have to kind of consider that, and I can see it moving up. Depending, I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's strong enough to become like an anime movie in the top 10. I can see it getting other awards, maybe like screenplay and score and stuff like that. And we'll get into that, but I'm just putting it there because like it's a possibility, but a very far possibility because no one's really saying it's best picture worthy, but they're saying it's like one of the best animated movies in a while. So I'm like, oh, okay, like that definitely changes my animated feature race, and we'll get to that in a sec. Best director: The Brutalist, Anora, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez. The Substance, like I said, I'm putting The Substance in some stuff. Like it's becoming a real contender. Before it was like definitely getting makeup, maybe wedding makeup, possibly screenplay, but I think now it's like becoming this thing where like I talk to people who don't even really know or aren't as deep into movies that as I am, and they're like, oh, I saw The Substance, it was amazing. The word of mouth is going like wildfire, and if it can keep this up, it really could get a lot of nominations, and I'm really excited for it because The Substance is dope. It's a great movie. If you haven't watched it, go see it. But this pretty much stayed the same. I moved Sean Baker up. He and Brady Corbett are really the two contenders of who's going to win this, and I took out Steve McQueen. Blitz is kind of getting middling reviews. I think it's still plays to that Oscar audience, the older Oscar voters. So I still think it can get a lot of stuff. But they're saying it's kind of like a mid movie. But mid movies have been nominated for a lot before. For 6 through 10, Nickel Boys, Conclave, Blitz, Sing Sing, and The Seed of the Sacred Fig. I can see The Substance getting snubbed. They like to snub women in this category, and I could see maybe like Conclave getting in there because they do really love Edward Berger. They loved his last movie, All Quiet on the Western Front. We'll have to see how the director race plays out because that's always kind of like a tight one where like you have to really, it's like down to the wire that you're guessing what it is. Best Actress: Mikey Madison, Carlos Sofia Gascon, Angelina Jolie, Saoirse Ronan, and Demi Moore. I took out Nicole Kidman. I don't think it could be a surprise. She gets nominated a lot. I mean, like Being the Ricardos, I think it was a surprise nomination. She was good, but I don't think she was Oscar good. So the Academy really likes her and will nominate her for stuff. Like I said, Demi Moore, that was the one that I was like, I think I'm going to do this. I think it's going to be the like outlier where people are going to be surprised by. But then I saw a lot more people talking about other nominations than I expected. So then I was like, this could be one that's like more concrete than the others, like more concrete than Best Picture and stuff like that. To look at kind of history, Lupita Nyong'o got a SAG nomination for Us, didn't get a nomination for the Oscars. People were pretty surprised by that. Toni Collette, people wanted her to get nominated for Hereditary, didn't get anything. Golden Globes, SAG, nothing. So the Substance, they were kind of figuring out what movies are comedy and musical and what movies are drama for the Golden Globes. I do think they put The Substance in comedy and musical. I do think Demi Moore can get nominated in that. I do think she can get SAG. If she gets Critics' Choice, I feel like I'd be pretty surprised if she got snubbed in the Oscars. If she got BAFTA on top of that, I think it's kind of a lock. The acting categories has a random surprise that like they don't get anything and they get nominated for the Oscars. Melissa McCarthy and Bridesmaids, America Ferrera and Barbie. I don't really know who that's going to be yet, who the possible snubs are. But I do think the top contenders, really, it's Mikey Madison, Carlos Sofia Gascon. Pretty much Mikey Madison to win because Anora is becoming beloved, and I do think it's hers to lose, and then a close second is Carlos Sofia Gascon. Angelina Jolie, Pablo Larraín's movies all got nominated. I do think it's a not a lock, but she's gonna get nominated. Saoirse Ronan for The Outrun. Will this be her year for like a double nomination for that and for Blitz? I don't know. I think from what I'm hearing, like she's better in The Outrun, but her chances are better for Blitz. So maybe she might get it. She might be like a Scarlett Johansson of 2019 for Jojo Rabbit and Marriage Story. And I'm hearing she's very good. The Academy likes her. She's already been nominated like 3 times. So like it's not like it's like a crazy thing to nominate her again. And then through 6 through 10, I have Nicole Kidman, Amy Adams, Marianne Jean-Baptiste, Fernando Torres, and Cynthia Erivo. I took out Julianne Moore, Tilda Swinton, and Lady Gaga because Lady Gaga was going supporting, but I also took her out of supporting. We'll get that in a sec. But I took out Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore. I just think it's starting to become stacked in this category, and like a surprise wouldn't be I know like Penelope Cruz got a surprise nomination for for a Pedro Almodovar movie, but I don't think this one. It's not as highly prized. I know it won the Golden Lion, but I think that was kind of like an outlier. It's not as highly prized, and I do think that this one's too stacked. Maybe like writing or score or something like that. Or I can see it kind of being completely shut out altogether. Night Bitch, it's kind of mixed. I'm hearing Amy Adams is really good, but I'm also hearing that like the movie, it's like I don't know if people are taking the movie seriously to nominate her, but I'm hearing her performance is good. Marianne Jean Baptiste, I can see that being a possible surprise, but it's Bleecker Street for Hard Truths. And Bleecker Street really doesn't get any nominations, but Mike Lee gets a lot of nominations, so it's kind of conflicting. But like with The Room Next Door, it might get other ones, but not a surprise in actress. Fernando Torres for I'm Still Here. I'm hearing she's getting rave reviews. I'm hearing the movie's very good. I can see a possible outcome where she might get nominated. That would be a surprise, depending on how the movie's traction stays. If it keeps going and growing, I can see this conversation becoming bigger and bigger. Let's see if she gets like like a BAFTA or something, because it's not a surprising thing to have like a foreign actress get in there. And then at number 10, I have Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. Like I said, it's all depending on how heavy the Academy is going to go and how much love they're going to give to Wicked. I can see Cynthia Erivo getting it. Like I can see it getting text in Best Picture if they give it some love. But like out of director, screenplay, actress, supporting actress, all that stuff, I think she has the best chance. But it's not like a high percentage. So we'll have to wait and see, and let's see how this movie grows when it comes out. What's the reception? What's the critics are saying about it? Stuff like that. It all has to go up, 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 up to get to a nomination. If it doesn't, there's a harder hill to climb to get that nomination. Best Actor: Adrian Brody, Ralph Fiennes, Colman Domingo, Daniel Craig, Timothée Chalamet. I have this pretty similar. In my 6 through 10, I have Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice, Paul Mescal, Sebastian Stan for A Different Man, Glenn Powell, and Nicholas Hoult. It's not really. I took out Gabriel Labelle. I took out Joaquin Phoenix. I think the Joker being not good, and also like he's having not a great like press day recently with like dropping out of that movie. It's still kind of in the conversation of people talking about it when there are red carpets with people who are supposed to be in the movie. I just don't. Yeah, that I feel like if anything, it was always gonna be Lady Gaga, but I don't even think that's gonna happen anymore. But this is kind of like a weak category, and I feel like the Best Actor normally is weaker in the beginning, and like it gets more and more towards we get closer to Oscars, and like Best Actress is always like stacked with so many people. So there's always room for someone to come in and like be a surprise. Can I see Glenn Powell getting a Golden Globe? Yeah, for Hitman. Can I see it getting SAG? A little harder, but if it does, then it helps him for an Oscar. Sebastian Stan, I do think it's more for The Apprentice. But for some reason, if A Different Man takes, people are really saying A Different Man is very good, and if for some reason that's the performance that takes off of his, I can see him kind of getting in. I don't really see him getting in either way. It's better for The Apprentice, where he could be a surprise, but anything can happen. And during number 2, I have Nicholas Hoult, but like it's scaring me that they're putting it in 50 theaters and then not expanding it at all. Like it's like they don't trust the movie, but the movie looks good in the trailer. So if the critics are really liking it, I might keep him in, but if they don't like it and they're not expanding it, so it's not going to do like well in the box office, all that stuff, I'm definitely going to take it out. Best Supporting Actress: Zoe Saldana, Felicity Jones, Danielle Deadwyler, Saoirse Ronan, Selena Gomez. These are all pretty much the standard people that I've had for the last few months. Definitely last month are the same. Then I have Isabella Rossellini, Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor, Margaret Qualley, Toni Collette, Ariana Grande. I recently saw Conclave, and I will say Ralph Fiennes, Daniel Tucci, and Isabella Rossellini were the 3 I thought did the best job and or gave the most like performance for an Oscar. And so I can see her being kind of like a surprise in this category, maybe kicking out Selena Gomez. Because she never got an Oscar. She has a career that people loved and stuff like that. Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor, like Isabella Rossellini, has a small role from what I've heard. And so we'll see if that gets enough to get in to the top 5. It's been done before. Margaret Qualley, if they really love The Substance, could be like America Ferrera and Barbie, where people were like hoping for it, but they didn't think it was going to happen, and then come the day, it happened. Toni Collette, like I said, the same thing with Nicholas Hoult. If the critics like, I'll keep her in towards the bottom. If they don't like it and it's not going to get box office because it's being limited release, I'm going to probably take it out because I think it might be DOA. And for Ariana Grande, if they really love Wicked and they give it to Cynthia Erivo and they give it to a bunch of other nominations, I can see her being like a we gave it so much already, might as well give it to her as well type of package. Like they're like if it gets so much, she can kind of be brought into the package of what to be nominated. I don't think the acting is likely, but it's possible for Cynthia Erivo depending on her performance, and then it's a lot less likely for Ariana Grande. But if Wicked becomes like the La La Land, which I don't see it happening, but if it does, I can see her getting nominated or being in contention of like the sixth slot. And then, like I said before, I took out Lady Gaga for Folie à Deux. I took out Elle Fanning for Complete Unknown. I took out Natasha Lyonne for His Three Daughters. I've heard she's really good in it, but that movie didn't really take off. Joker fell off a cliff, like I said. And if she was gonna get it, if any acting was gonna get it was gonna be Lady Gaga. But I just don't think it's happening anymore because the Academy, like, it's not like the Academy has nominated her for every single thing. She did get snubbed for House of Gucci, where people actually thought she was getting nominated, and her performance in movie was more highly regarded than Joker 2. And Elle Fanning, you don't really hear people talking about her much. I feel like it's more Timothée Chalamet and Edward Norton. So, Best Supporting Actor, we have Guy Pearce, we have Clarence Macklin, we have Denzel Washington, Kieran Culkin, and Edward Norton. I have heard that the actors are stronger than the actress. So I have heard Guy Pearce and Adrian Brody are stronger than Felicity Jones, and I have seen that in reviews as well where they talk about them more than Felicity Jones. Clarence Macklin, I think it's more going to be like if he wins an award and on the campaign trail for the Oscars, what he says to the audiences really moves them and they like seeing what he has to say. I can then see a path for a win towards like they're loving him on the screen and off. Denzel Washington, I heard, is coming for that third Oscar, at least nomination wise for Gladiator 3. They said he's incredible. Kieran Culkin, he has been in the conversation for a while. And I think now that, like I said before, that the festival's kind of revived A Real Pain, I do think it's going to help him a lot. And Edward Norton, has the makeup, has a little bit of transformation. I kind of want to compare it to Elvis, where like Austin Butler got it, but Tom Hanks didn't get it. So if they say that Timothée Chalamet is so much better than Edward Norton, I can see him falling out. But like I'm kind of getting like they're going to nominate the two of them, but one might fall off, one might stay on. So and that's the case. If one falls off, I have for 6 through 10, I have Yuri Bazarov for Anora, Mark Engelshine for Anora, I apologize for saying those names wrong, Stanley Tucci for Conclave, Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice, Peter Sarsgaard for September 5th. The two supporting actors for Anora, everyone's saying they're amazing, but I can also see people kind of like rallying around them and getting the nomination because Anora is so beloved and probably is going to be like the movie of the year, like getting like the top prizes for stuff. So if they get the nominations, I'm gonna take someone out, put one of them in, depending on who's getting it. Stanley Tucci, like I said, I thought he was very good. Depending on how much love they're gonna give Conclave, I don't know if they're gonna nominate everyone, all three of them. I can definitely see him getting an ensemble for SAG. I just don't know if he has what it takes to get into the 5. But possibility. Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. It just depends on what The Apprentice does. It's being released by Briarcliff, not a big studio. I feel like it's going to be like a Bleecker Street where they really can't get nominations. And then Peter Sarsgaard for September 5th. I keep wanting to say September 5. I don't know why. Well, because it says September 5, even though it's September 5th. There could be a chance this is like the spotlight and it gets supporting roles because they're all going supporting since it's an ensemble. I can see it getting ensemble for SAG. Like I said, I kind of have to wait to see how this plays out a little more because I don't know anything about this movie and it's kind of just coming out of nowhere. Could it just rise to the top? Possibly. So that's why I'm kind of playing like little things here and there for this movie. And, maybe next month they could be rising to the top or closer to the top. We just have to wait and see. But I feel like he is the biggest name, so I can see them giving it to him if they're going to give it to anyone. But if you look at Spotlight, which they're comparing it to, I believe Michael Keaton, Rachel McAdams, and Mark Ruffalo all got nominated. So there could be a lot more coming if this movie keeps its traction. I got rid of John Lithgow and Drew Skarsgård for Conclave and Clear, respectively. I just feel like Queer is kind of falling off, and John Lithgow is not in the conversation enough and didn't give enough for an Oscar, so those kind of fell out. Best Original Screenplay, Anora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, The Substance, and Challengers. I kind of changed this a little bit. Saturday Night fell out. Blitz fell out, but I kept Anora, The Brutalist, and A Real Pain. I put in challengers. I feel like that and score challengers' biggest chances to get in the 5 and get a nomination. In the substance, I do think it will get screenplay over best picture, best actress. It's gonna, if anything, I feel like it's gonna get makeup and screenplay. Because I feel like they like to nominate the more, weirder, nicher ones, genre stuff in the screenplays. Then I have September 5th, the same reason why I just mentioned it in supporting actor. Saturday Night, Cinematography, Blitz, and Hard Truths. Mike Leigh does get a lot of screenplay nominations, so there is a chance, but not a big chance. And then I just took out a different man. It's like the movie itself, it isn't really moving forward like I thought it might have been. There was a high buzz about it when it first came out. It kind of died down. If anything, it might be a lone nomination for Sebastian Stan, if that's even going to happen. Adapted screenplay: Conclave, Amelia Perez, Dune Part 2, Sing Sing, and Nickel Boys. This pretty much stayed the same from last month. I do think, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Dune Part 2, Sing Sing, even though it's falling off a little bit, Sing Sing, I do think it still can get a screenplay. And Nickel Boys, depending on how people are saying, the whole POV thing about it is a little gimmicky. If they really if the gimmicky conversation kind of goes away and it's more about like how experimental the movie is, I do think it can get a screenplay as well, because then you can kind of focus on things past that. But if they can't get past the gimmick of the POV, I don't know how much. I do think it could be snubbed at a lot of things. Then you have The Piano Lesson, The Wild Robot, I'm Still Here, The Room Next Door, and Wicked. Piano Lesson, they've nominated other August William movie adaptations. The Wild Robot, I feel like it's more likely here than Best Picture. A lot of anime movies have gotten nominated here. Up, Inside Out, stuff like that. I'm Still Here, I'm kind of comparing it to The Worst Person in the World, because I got Best Original Screenplay and Best International Feature nomination. And I feel like that is definitely where I'm Still Here is going towards, where it's like it could be a nomination for screenplay, could be a nomination for, I think it's definitely a nomination for foreign film, and then possibly actress, which a lot of people wanted the main actress from Worst Person in the World to get nominated. So I'm kind of putting those two movies together and seeing if the same path happens for it. The Room Next Door, he gets surprise nominations sometimes in like the acting categories, screenplay, score. And then he gets usually foreign film, but this isn't a foreign film. It's his first English language film. So I don't really know where. I think it's falling out, but I still think there's like a slight chance for a surprise nomination for him. And then Wicked, truly based on if they really like the movie. If they love Wicked and they give it a lot of nominations, I can see it getting screenplay. I don't see it happening, but I don't think it's likely, but I can see it happening. Okay, so we got to the point where it's now international feature and documentary feature. Like I said, I don't really know about a lot about these movies, so I'm just kind of give you my 10. For international feature, it's Amelia Perez, See the Sacred Fig, I'm Still Here, Kneecap, The Girl with the Needle, Flow, Cloud, Universal Language, Armand, and Lapida Ladies. And then for best documentary feature, Daughters, No Other Land, The Black Box Diaries, Sugarcane, The Remarkable Life of Evelyn, Zorowski vs. Texas, Will and Harper, Unknown, Separated, Piece by Piece. I'm curious to see if, a lot of times for documentary, they always snub a lot of, the big name people in documentaries, like the Michael J. Fox documentary. I can see them snubbing the Christopher Reeve documentary. I'm curious if Will and Harper's going to get in there, because it's it has a message, but it also has, a celebrity in it. So I'm curious how that plays and see if, because it's not all about celebrity. It's more about the message with the celebrity in it to kind of, get its attention. So I'm curious if that could push through the normal, we don't nominate a lot of documentaries about people or about a famous person. And Piece by Piece isn't doing well in the box office, so I'm just curious if it's going to do well at the Oscars or just awards in general, so I'll have to wait and see. Best Animated Feature: The Wild Robot, Inside Out 2, Moana 2, Flow, and Memoir of a Snail. I switched the number 1 and number 2 because I do think people love Inside Out 2, and I love Inside Out 2 as well, but I think The Wild Robot's getting that, one of the best, not just in the year, like I said before, but in the last few years. So I can definitely see that winning. But there's a slight chance that Inside Out 2, don't underestimate Pixar. They can definitely pull out a win still. Then Moana 2, Flow, Memoir of a Snail. They like to include, the big anime movies and the kind of indie ones as well. Then I have the ones that could, 6 through 10 ones that could go in: Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance, Most Foul, Piece by Piece, the Lord of the Rings movie, Transformers 1, which I had in the 5. I took that out. I kind of reassessed that movie. And then Spellbound. I don't think Spellbound's happening, but I needed a 10. Boston Grommet, possible spoiler. Definitely possible spoiler. I just don't know if it's going to beat out the other two more indie ones with Flo and Memoirs of a Snail. Because I heard Memoirs of a Snail is very good. I know Flo might be dominating Best International. So I have to see if Wallace and Gromit can kind of like beat out those two or one of those to get into the 5. Best Cinematography, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Nickel Boys, Amelia Perez, Joker, Folie à Deux. I think this is the one that's the strongest for Joker 2. The cinematography is incredible, and it was nominated for the first one, and I think it's better in this one than it was in the first one. So I definitely think that it has a chance, but they can just totally ghost Joker 2 and it gets nothing. So in that case, I think there's 6 through 10. There's possible snubs or possible surprises would be Nosferatu, Maria, Blitz, Gladiator 2, Conclave. I actually could see Maria even going higher over Nosferatu. I see a lot of people talking about its cinematography being really top notch and maybe even getting into the top 5. Blitz, it's a war movie, so I can see it getting nominated. Nosferatu, Robert Eager has gotten a cinematography nomination for The Lighthouse, so I can see this possibly getting in, or even just being in the conversation. Shortlisted, possibly. Gladiator 2, it's a big epic. I can see it getting it. And Conclave could be like kind of like a hidden surprise that, rises up very quickly because the cinematography was very good in that movie. Best editing, Anora, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Conclave, Amelia Perez. I think Anora, is locked for this, and I do think The Brutalist probably is as well. It's a 3.5-hour movie, and people are saying it's masterful. And I'm like, the editing, the pacing, and the editing has to be so top notch to make that work. Dune Part 2, the first one won, the second one had great editing as well. I just don't think it's going to win. I think Dune's going to get a lot of nominations and just not really win anything. I do think it's going to be kind of, The Killers of the Flower Moon, stuff like that, where it gets a lot of nominations and ends up walking home with nothing. Amelia Perez, I actually do see getting a lot of nominations and being like probably one of the most nominated of the year for this year's Oscars. I see it getting a lot of love, even though a lot of people, it's very mixed. People are saying it's either amazing or mick or like okay, but it's still not stopping people from saying it's going to get nominated. So I do think because of that, that's a pretty strong case that like it's even overcoming the critics. And then for 6 through 10, The Substance, Saturday Night, Blitz, Nickel Boys, and I will say I have between Gladiator 2 and September 5th. I'll put September 5th because if that truly is like the spotlight of this year, I believe Spotlight got editing, so I'll put that in there. I don't know, the more I'm talking about it, the more I think The Substance might be a pretty high number of nominations. Or I could just be delusional and it's going to get nothing, or just like one, like makeup and something like that. But there's something about this movie that I think has a chance. And I'm hoping that every month I talk about it now until the Oscars, that it gets more and more likely. I also took off Sing Sing Challengers. Like I said, I think Sing Sing's falling off a lot because of how botched they did the release and stuff like that. People are seeing it now. They're still talking about it, which I think won't let it get shut out completely. But I think they botched it so much that it's not going to get as many as it probably could have. And Challengers, like I said, I think its biggest chances are like Screenplay and Score. Best Production Design, Wicked, Dune Part 2, The Brutalist, Blitz, Gladiator 2. I think Wicked is pretty much locked for nomination. Dune Part 2 also. Brutalist also. I feel like Blitz is where, depending on how much the Academy wants to vote for it, but it's very older Oscars, like what they strive to nominate. It's like that is like awards bait for the older Oscar not voters. And the Gladiator 2, like the production design, they like built Rome, which I think is pretty crazy. And then you have Conclave, Nosferatu, Beetlejuice, Saturday Night, and Joker 2. Conclave, they rebuilt the Sistine Chapel, and like, it's a good production design. It's very good. Nosferatu, I like the production design they have. It's very like, not as far as Poor Things went, but they're going like that kind of like, that time period. And I feel like the Oscars loves period movies, so they just nominate it for like as much as they can. So I can see, I don't think a lot of his movies before have been period pieces as much as this one has. So this could be his most nominated film because of that. But we'll have to see. Beetlejuice, it's all practical. It's like all built sets and stuff like that, and they looked great. Saturday Night, they recreated, the SNL stage. I don't know if that's one of its like highest ones to get, but it's a possibility. And Joker 2, I needed a 10. And also like they did, have some like old school sets. I don't know if that's enough to kind of like have it in the conversation. Probably not. I do think a part of me thinks it's going to be shut out, but if anything, it's going to get cinematography. So I just had to put this at 10. I got rid of Here. Here is not getting well received, and I thought the only reason it would be in there is if it was well received, so Here's done. Best costume design: Wicked, Dune Part 2, Blitz, Gladiator 2, Maria. I think Wicked's going to be like kind of the poor things of last year where I can see it winning production design, costume, maybe being nominated for hair and makeup. Dune Part 2, it's not going to win, but it's going to get recognized for its costumes, production design, possibly hair and makeup, stuff like that. Like I said, I think it's going to get a lot of nominations. Blitz, it's a war movie. They usually get nominated a lot. It's a period piece. So Gladiator 2, the first one got nominated, and it's a period piece. Maria, period piece. These kind of technical ones, like the production on the costume, hair, makeup, a lot of it is, not all the time, but a lot of it is more period than contemporary. So, or like fantasy and period than, contemporary stuff. Then I have The Brutalist, Beetlejuice, Nosferatu, Conclave, and A Complete Unknown. And if you notice, a lot of them are either fantasy or period pieces, except for Conclave. But I thought they had they made all of the outfits for the Cardinals and stuff like that, and they had to make hundreds of them, and they were very detailed. So I can see them, depending on how much. I think Conclave is not a top 3 movie, but it's like in the 4 to 6 range. So those sometimes can get a lot of nominations, and I can see it just depending on how much love they want to give it, giving them costumes. But it's not 100%. Got rid of Joker, like I said, not a surprise. I said I got rid of Joker for almost everything. So hair and makeup I have. This is definitely the one the substance is definitely getting, and 99% winning. I think, at least. Then you have Beetlejuice, Dune Part 2, A Different Man. Wicked, I do think Wicked could pop out of this. And then there's The Brutalist, Nosferatu, Apprentice, Amelia Perez, Sasquatch, Sunset. I can see The Apprentice kind of going in there. They like a transformation, The Whale, Bombshell, stuff like that. The Brutalist, I think, is going to be this year's like Oppenheimer, where it gets a lot of awards. And they just because it's so like epic and like and grand, and it's like the talk of the town. Like there's a Nora that's like the one that I think is winning Best Picture, but it's not that type of movie that has the capability of getting every nomination. I think The Brutalist then is that movie, and that's where it can kind of like the two of them can kind of like compete for Best Picture, where it's like, here, I won't compare it to last year, but I'll compare it to 2022, where it's like a Tar and like Everything Everywhere All at Once, where it's like Tar was limited its nominations, but highly regarded, and like, in early talks it was thinking about, that was the front runner, but then Everything Everywhere All at Once came, and it was like every aspect of it was so great. So I think that will be with Honora and The Brutalist. So I can definitely see The Brutalist and The Wicked switching. I actually might do that, and I might do that right now, to be honest with you, because I just feel like it's going to be one of those ones that, like, behind Amelia Perez is like nominated for a lot of things. Nosferatu, Transformation, and then like I can see Sasquatch, Sunset shortlisting but not getting in. It was like The Voyage of the Demeter last year. See, also now I'm thinking I might switch Nosferatu and The Brutalist. I think that 5 spot, I'm gonna go with Nosferatu because it has the period piece and it has the like transformation of an actor with Bill Skarsgård. I feel like the Nosferatu, Brutalist, Wicked, Apprentice can kind of all be a possibility for number 5, and it's kind of hard to pick that number 5 right now. So I'll have to wait and see as we get more nominations and stuff like that. But the substance is winning this, so I feel like is like the lock of the lock. Best visual effects I have: Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Mufasa the Lion King, Gladiator 2, Blitz, and that pretty much stay the same. I think this is Dune Part 2's only win for the Oscars this year. I don't see anything else beating it, but I do think, all the other 4 nominees are like almost locks. Number 5 I think can go with a lot of ways, but I do think they like to nominate war films for special effects and stuff like that. Then we have Wicked, Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, Nosferatu, Deadpool, Wolverine, Alien, Romulus. I mean, I don't really see any of these coming up into number 5. Maybe, depending on what the visual effects look like for Nosferatu, possibly how much of a contender that could be. Wicked, if they give it a lot of love, maybe. Furiosa, this is the only one I have it in this, I think, sound. I'm not sure. But I think that fell off a cliff also, so I really don't expect to hear that movie be called really at all during Oscar morning. And then Deadpool, Wolverine, they like Marvel movies, Alien, Romulus. They like the movies that are smaller budgets but great visual effects. So I think the number 5 spot could be a toss-up, but I do think it's going to be Blitz. Because I also got rid of Twisters here. So Twisters could come back in there, possibly. I think Here's out. I don't think it's going to get anything. We were all deciding if it was going to be old Robert Zemeckis or new Robert Zemeckis. It looks like it's new Robert Zemeckis, which means no Oscar nominations. Best sound. Dune Part 2, Gladiator 2, Emilia Perez, Blitz, The Substance. I have Dune Part 2 right now, number 1. Is it a guarantee to win? No. I do think Gladiator could take that. Gladiator could take a lot of the wind out of its sails for Dune Part 2, depending on how it's received and how much of a contender it's going to be at the Oscars. But I do think those are the top 2. Emilia Perez, they like to put musicals in the best sound. Blitz, war movie. Substance had amazing sound. I actually would love if this was like the Zone of Interest, where the big movie didn't win sound and it actually went to a smaller movie, which actually makes me think it has a chance now. Now thinking about last year's Zone of Interest and stuff like that, I think by next month this could actually be moved up. Now thinking about the Zone of Interest, what happened with that last year. Then I have Conclave, The Brutalist, Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, Nickel Boys, and A Complete Unknown. I can see, to be honest with you, I can kind of see any of those popping in. Conclave, the sound was very distinct in Conclave. The Brutalist, a big epic, so I can see that. Furiosa, possibly if they want to give it something. It's so funny going from Mad Max to Mad Max Furio with 14 nominations, something like that, to possibly 0 nominations for Furiosa. But look at the box office, the same thing kind of happened. Nickel Boys, with the whole POV thing, I think the sound could be really interesting. And A Complete Unknown, it's about music, so I can see it possibly getting in there. After December, when The Complete Unknown premieres, I'm curious where it's going to be, because I feel like it can go either this is Oscar worthy or this is just a normal a musical biopic. But they like musical biopics. Bohemian Rhapsody, Elvis, Rocketman, all have gotten nominated in some capacity, some more than others. So I don't want to take out A Complete Unknown completely. Pun intended, I guess. Then we have Score, The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Challengers, Blitz. The Brutalist, I heard first things out of the first reaction, stuff like that, winning score. They said that was this movie's incredible and it's winning score. So I had to put number 1. Conclave, incredible score. Emilia Perez, I heard the score is good. Challengers, I think, I forgot to mention this, because Dune Part 2, ineligible. Dune Part 2 is ineligible, which is crazy because of the rules and whatever. They used the exact score from the first one in the second one and then added new stuff instead of tweaking it like the Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and all that stuff, which I think is crazy that we're putting our foot down there while Star Wars gets nominated every year. Indiana Jones always. It's I'm not really sure where the goalpost is, but obviously there's reasoning to it but obviously there's reasoning to it. So whatever. I'm going to move on and digress. But because of that, I do think this makes way for Challengers to kind of come in there and maybe get its sole nomination. In Blitz, it's a war movie, Hans Zimmer. And now that Hans Zimmer isn't getting nominated for Dune Part 2, there's a chance for him there. I took out Saturday Night. I think it can easily go in there. It's just, I can see that switching with Blitz maybe. And then I have The Wild Robot, Gladiator 2, The Room Next Door, and Nosferatu. Like I said, a lot of anime movies also get in to score as well. We have, like I mentioned before, Up, Inside Out. So this could be, another statistic for an anime movie. And then I think the rest are not guaranteed, but there's possibilities for them. And finally, Best Original Song. I'm not going to put the exact songs because a lot of them I haven't seen. So I'm just going to do a TBD because I think a song is going to get nominated in general. I think Emilia Perez is going to get a song nomination. Moana 2. The movie The 688. The song is called The Journey. A song from Mufasa the Lion King. The song Kiss the Sky from The Wild Robot. I do think this is room to play in this nomination. I think Emilia Perez could get 1 or 2. Moana is submitting 2 songs, so it could get 2. The Diane Warren movie, what was it? Relentless, I think it's coming out next year, so I put her other song, because she always gets nominated, for The 688. It's a Tyler Perry movie on Netflix. Mufasa, Lin-Manuel Miranda's writing the music, so they like him a lot. Kiss the Sky, Wild Robot. It depends on how much they really like this movie. That's the true test. If they really like it, it could get best song. Then I have Harper and Will Go West, a song from Piece by Piece. The Beautiful That Way, Compress Repress from Challengers, and a song from Spellbound. I don't think that's happening. It's just like it's Alan Menken, so I feel like I have to put it in just for right now until I have reason to take it out. But like I mentioned before, the documentary, could Will and Harper kind of get into best song, stuff like that? Beautiful That Way is Miley Cyrus is singing it. They like to also like nominate songs with like big artists behind it, I've noticed. So, and like Kristen Wiig, I think wrote and performed Will and Harper's song. Beautiful That Way was Miley Cyrus. Kiss the Sky, Maren Morris. So we'll have to wait and see. I think the 6 through 10, it's not like they're never going to happen, but I think one of them could pop in to the 5. I think song is still kind of up in the air right now, and we have to kind of like wait and see a little more. So those are my predictions for the month of October. November is right around the corner. I'll be doing a video for November soon, hopefully. I mean, a lot has changed from September to October, so let's see how much changes from October to November. Every month we're getting a little bit closer, a little more clear of who might be nominated. And I think now a lot of the For You considerations are coming out. It's making it a little more clear. Critics are going to start, I think, next month. Maybe they're going to be coming out with their nominations. So we're on this train till Oscar morning. So let me know what you thought of my predictions down in the comments. Let me know what you think is going to get nominated. I like reading your comments and seeing if you agree with me or you don't agree with me. It's always fun. But these are my opinions, so just remember that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Cheers.